Your first K-swap for under $2,000, including the price of the car? They're not going to believe you.
So, for the first video, I plan on unboxing the most important part, or the part I've been waiting on. That's the most important for my swap. Current project is an 88 Honda CRX HF. I'm going to end up with a K24 in it, and either a 5 or a 6-speed transmission. That's undecided at this point. One of the biggest hurdles in this project, being super budgety, was the motor mounts. And Brian hooked me up with a set of used mounts that he had used in some of his projects in the past. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's get this opened up and see the beautiful motor mount parts. I also got a universal block bracket. Actually, I think it was his prototype universal block bracket. First things first, we've got our rear mount. This bolts to the, I'll set it up so that it sits on the table the way it will in the car. That is the rear trans mount. It's going to bolt to the rear cross member. And then there's a dog bone, which we'll pull out of here in just a minute. A dog bone style mount that will bolt between that cross member and the transmission at the rear of the transmission. That is our transmission side bracket that bolts to the transmission and then will extend up and meet with the mount that I'll pull out of here in a second as well. Here is the custom universal K bracket with a welded on tab at the bottom to make it work for the newer K24 Z3, for instance. That one you can't use just the stock CRV bracket with. Here is our engine side mount. She's a Butte and definitely a little bit older unit since it does not have the CNC machined in Hasport, but I know where it came from and it's a beautiful piece. Feels like hardware. Hasport's awesome. They always include all the hardware that you need for the entire kit. I've actually got Hasport mounts in my 91 Civic wagon, which has got a B20 non-VTEC in it, and those I didn't purchase from Hasport. They came in the car. The car was already swapped when I got it. That's my current track day car, which it is a blast. This is the K4 RBB or RB. This is the rear bracket for your TSX and Accord transmission. It'll also work with the 2012 Civic Si transmission that I've also picked up for the project. Again, I am unsure as to exactly which one I'm going to go with. This is an extra reinforcement bracket. This gets welded to that same cross member and added here so that you've got further reinforcement way out at this point in addition to the 4 bolts over here to further tie things in. I believe this was added as an update when they went to offering the all-wheel drive options. There's a lot more torque involved with that setup. This feels like that dog bone for the rear. It is. So this is the rear that will go onto this mount and then connect to either this mount This is our our transmission side mount that'll bolt right here, and that will attach the transmission to the chassis. This is our other bracket. This is a weld-in bracket. This goes on this side. It gets welded into the chassis, and I lied to you. This is the top of the mount. There's your Hasport CNC work. Beautiful machining. This gets welded to the chassis. This gets bolted to the bracket and bolted to the engine. And that covers all of the mounts in the kit. It's an awesome setup. Looking forward to putting it into use on the car. Want to give a big shout out to Brian at Hasport. Thanks again so much for your help on this, helping to keep this project as budgety as possible. In doing so, I'm happy to keep you up to date, and I really appreciate everything you've done so far on this. Also want to thank again Dashing Cars, my only subscriber, who's a subscriber before I even had a video. So video number 1 coming out. Overall, give you a quick rundown on the project. It's an 88 Honda CRX HF, going with a K24. Undecided as to right now, and that comes down to the engine control side of things. If I need to stay with stock ECU, I'm probably going to go with a K24 A1 CRV motor. If I'm going to go with aftermarket engine control, it's probably going to end up being the K24 Z3 that I picked up. With that, I'd probably go with the Honda Flash Pro. Transmission wise, I've got an EP3 5-speed, so that came in the 02 to 05 Honda Civic Si. Open differential in that, but pretty good gearing. Picked up a Honda Element 2-wheel drive transmission. I'd love to go all-wheel drive with the project, but budget's extremely limited, so I'm basically relegated to whatever I can find in the junkyard. The EP3 trans came from the junkyard, the Element 2-wheel drive trans came from the junkyard, and then I also have a 2012 Civic Si, which does have factory limited slip in it, also from the junkyard. Everything, all these engines and transmissions and basically all the parts that I've gathered so far, they've pretty much all come from LKQ. 3 different locations. 2 of them are within about a 40-minute drive, one's 2 hours away. But I've got a ton of parts from those locations so far. Where I'm at right now is, again, first video with YouTube. I'm learning as I go. Open to suggestions. Please feel free to give suggestions and comments on video quality, audio quality. Right now the current setup is GoPro Hero 3, which is what I'm using for this video right now, and then my cell phone for some photos and video that I've taken up until this point that I'll add on in later videos of the project and the process and the progress and the parts located at the junkyard and those junkyard trips as well. But I'm open to suggestions. Please like, please subscribe. I hope this is a super informative swap video series for everybody involved, as far as parts that can work, interchange, things that need to be changed to make some of those parts work between the newer and the older generation K24 motors, and transmissions for that matter. And then I'm not afraid of critiques, so give me any of the information you can. I appreciate it. I think that's going to call it for now. I appreciate you guys tuning in and taking a look at my first video. I thank you in advance for all the suggestions that you're going to give, and please everybody take care of yourselves and everyone else, and in doing so, that's really the most important thing right now. Thank y'all. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you later.